So, we're going to start with Equality and Diversity, Standard 4, Activity 4.1a. Complete the table below to explain the key terminology in your own words. So, diversity. Diversity means a variety. It means different cultures. Being unique. Then equality to me is being equal or the same treatment to, or being fair. So being fair, being equal, treating everyone the same respect, that's equality. Inclusion, it means you include or you involve the resident to participate in the activities. So the answer could be involving or including the residents to participate. Discrimination, so discriminate means to exclude or to have unfair or prejudice to someone. Okay, happy with that? Activity 4.1b. Discrimination may happen deliberately or by mistake within social care settings. For each of the examples below, describe the discrimination that is happening, including whether it is deliberate or inadvertent. Right. Example number 1, a community group organizes activities in a village hall that does not have access that is suitable for individuals who are wheelchair users. So this is, to me, is inadvertent because they can't do something about the whole. This will become deliberate if they intentionally just use or book that whole purposely. So a community group organizes activities in a village hall that does not have access. So they organize, unfortunately, the hall does not have access. So to me, it's inadvertent. So you can circle inadvertent, and then if you want to explain, you can put there that you can't do anything about the hall that was already built that way. Probably it's an old building, doesn't have wheelchair access, ramp, etc. You can put in their suggestion box if you like to suggest that if they can renovate and provide access for wheelchair users. Example number 2, in a hospital, a volunteer gives smaller portions of food to women than men because they believe that men have bigger appetites. So this is deliberate. So the discrimination there is deliberate because they deliberately put smaller portion for women, and it becomes prejudice to women that women will only eat small portion than men. All right. Or stereotyping, that could be another answer there, or explanation. Example number 3, a care home has a policy that limits kitchen hours from 8 to 5 p.m. A new resident follows Ramadan, meaning they can eat only before sunrise and after sunset. As a result of the policy, they are not able to eat proper meals for the month of Ramadan. So, to me again, this is inadvertent. They did not deliberately or purposely made that policy, but because they did a general policy for the residents that they're catering during the time. And unfortunately, they got a new resident that follows Ramadan. So they can change it in the near future, or they can provide the food, prepare the food already, and it's either leave food after sunset so that the person can access it, and prepare food ahead so that in the morning before sunrise they already got their food. Okay, next, a home care worker stays longer at the home of an individual than they should because they are fond of the individual, which means that the next person has less time for their care and support. Then this one for me is deliberate, because you know your schedules, but you purposely stay longer to one of the residents that you're fond with, or one of the person you're looking after, and that means the next person will have less time, so that's deliberate. Okay, activity 4.1c. There are a number of ways that can help to reduce the likelihood of discrimination happening in a workplace. Explain how practices that support equality and diversity, such as working in a person-centered way, can help to reduce discrimination in the workplace. So, working in a person-centered way can help to reduce the likelihood of discrimination because, so person-centered means you're focusing on that person, meaning the likes and dislikes of that person, and by doing so you already eliminated or reduces the likelihood of discrimination because you're treating the person individually. So if that person wants soft music, for example, and in the lounge they are having a party music, then because of that person-centered way approach, then you can offer the person, can I take you to the conservatory where you can listen to softer or mellow music, and then you can categorize people and bring them there as a group, a small group, and they can enjoy other activities. So person-centered approach can avoid or reduce the likelihood of discrimination. The same with food, even just the tea. If you're doing person-centered care, you don't give everyone a cup of tea. You will either ask them what they want, or you already know because in their care plan it says prefers coffee than tea, or prefers juice than tea. Okay, next, activity 4.2a on the diagram below. Identify which legislation and codes of practice or conduct relating to equality, diversity, and discrimination apply to you as a care worker. So we've got lots of legislations and we'll just enumerate them. You can put it on here. Equality Act of 2010, Human Rights Act 1998, Care Act 2014, Mental Capacity Act 2005, Health and Safety at Work Act, Health and Social Care Act, and the Code of Conducts for Healthcare Support Workers. Activity 4.2c. Reflect on the two examples of discriminatory practice below. For each example, describe how you could address the discriminatory practice in order to encourage positive change. So, an individual you are supporting is unable to reach the counter at the checkout to pay for their shopping. So, in this scenario, you're looking after someone and they cannot access the checkout to pay for their shopping. So it's either you request the person, the cashier, to lower their machine so that the person you're looking after can reach it. Another way or approach that you can do is suggest that if it is possible, they can have a separate counter for those people so that they can pay on their own, but in a accessible height. But yeah, the first thing, so that they can the first thing that you can do is to suggest to lower the machine so that their independence is still there. They'll be able to pay on their own by lowering the machine for them. Alright? Next, you notice a colleague continuously refuses to support or treat an individual, and they have said it is because the individual's sexual orientation. With this one, the answer here is straightforward. You need to tell your colleague or your workmate that it's not allowed to discriminate someone because of their individual sexual orientation, and just encourage your workmate to treat everyone equally. And if they're still not happy to do it, you will be forced to report them to the manager. Next, activity 4.3a. On the diagram below, identify a range of sources of information, advice, and support about diversity, equality, and inclusion. So you can enumerate again and just put there your manager, the nurses, your workmates, during appraisal and supervision, formal trainings, the internet, policies and procedures, legislations, your own research. Maybe you can read some books. That's it. Next, activity 4.3b and c. Think about situations when you may need additional information, advice, and support. Fill in the table below to demonstrate how you would try to find additional information, advice, and support about diversity, equality, and inclusion. One example situation has been done for you. For the second example, think of a situation that can happen in your own work. So number 1, you realize that your knowledge of dementia could be improved in order to support an individual's specific communication needs. When would you access information, advice, and support? As soon as you realize that you needed support, or you realize you got a resident with dementia and you need some training or support with it. So as soon as possible. The first question here, how would you access information, advice, and support? So perhaps read the care plan. There might give you some answer or guide to it. Journals, internet. Then the next, whom would you ask for advice and support, and why? First, just ask within your colleagues or clinical coordinator or the nurses. And then if you got the in-house trainer, you can ask them as well before you proceed to the deputy or the manager to ask for advice and support. Now, another scenario that we can put would be visually impaired resident, or hearing impaired, or mobility challenge resident. So any of those. So when would you access information and support? As soon as. So you got a resident who's got learning disability or mobility problems or challenge, so you need to act immediately. So as soon as you notice, you need to get advice and support. How would you access information, advice, and support? Again, care plan, like handover sheets, again, internet or journals or books. Whom would you ask for advice and support? Obviously, if you're new to the company and your senior staff, they will guide you. They will already have idea, so you can answer senior staff, nurses, clinical coordinator, trainer, in-house trainer to be specific, and then obviously deputy and manager. That's it.